All right, here we go. This one's going to be a 38 special test. Today we're going to be trying out some buffalo bore ammo. So for that one, it is the 158 grain lead semi-wad cutter hollow point. That's what that thing looks like. It does have your standard brass case and is rated 1,000 feet per second. So we'll see how close we come today. So we are going to be testing it out of our Taurus Model 85 Ultra-Lite. That one does have that 2-inch barrel. We'll be going through our gel. Those are 10% calibrated blocks. Do have our catch block behind that, so total 22 inches of gel, 4 layers of cotton tissue on the front, and like always, we'll set up our chronograph so you can hopefully pick up those impact velocities. So let's set up and see how this round does. All right, we're setting back to 15 feet. All right, let's see how we did on that one. All right, so it looks like our impact velocity on that one was, actually it just disappeared. See if we can pull it back up. There it was. Sorry guys. It was 810.8, so it's actually kind of disappointing. That's a lot lower than normal. It did feel a little lighter than normal. I actually shot a couple off camera. We're getting right around 1,000, so that one, definitely seems a little bit lighter than normal. It's just how it goes in ballistics, so we'll see how it does in the gel. All right, so there's an entry. Looks like we did go a little bit high, but we're still able to catch it. You see right down that block in a pretty decent star pattern. So let's check it out from the top. Oh yeah, definitely not too bad. So it looks like as soon as that thing came in, we actually started getting some expansion. You can see it's dumping quite a bit of energy right there at the beginning, but then right towards that maybe 2/3, 3/4 area, it's starting to settle down very quickly, flatline, and we did actually make it into that second block, so that's always good. So let's see what kind of measurement we have here from the top. Like I always do, I'll cut these open here at the end to get a little bit more accurate cross-section measurement, but while we're out here, we are right at 2 inches. So, definitely not too bad. Not the most for that round, but still pretty impressive. And then hopefully you guys are able to see that, but same thing, came in, opened up. It looks like there is a tiny chunk of lead in there, like it's dumping just a little bit, but then you can see those nice spiral cuts going through. And then that one actually did settle down very quickly and flatline, and there it is in that second block. It does look like we did get some expansion though, so that's always good. And at our widest spot, we're 1.25 inches from the side, so definitely quite a bit less from the side than the top, but that's okay. And then there's that round that's actually facing towards us. And at our leading edge there, we are at 5 inches. So I made it a total of 16 inches of penetration. So that's, quite a bit. So let's set it for that second shot and see how that one does. All right, we're setting back to 15 feet. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Let's see what we did on that one. That one definitely felt a little bit more stout than that first shot. All right, let's see what we did on that one. So our impact velocity was 922.9. So once again, a little bit disappointing. Normally when I do test those, we're well over 1,000 feet per second, but those are super old. They might have, kind of deteriorated a little bit, but anyway, still pretty good at that short barrel. All right, and here's the hit on that block. Same thing, you can see right down in there, and a pretty decent star pattern so far. So let's check it out from the top. Oh yeah, definitely not too bad. So it looks like as soon as that thing came in, we started getting some nice expansion. You can see it did dump quite a bit of energy. It looks like there's quite a bit right there in the center. And then kind of like that last one, it did taper off pretty quickly and then flatline towards the end. And once again, we did make it into that second one. So great to see. So let's see what kind of measurement we have here from the top at our widest spot. And it looks like we are at about 2 1/4, so about a 1/4 inch more than that first shot. So of course, you know, not the most, but still not the least. It was moving just over 100 feet per second faster than that first one, so that's always good. And like I said, that recoil was a little bit stouter than that first shot. But here it is from the side, came in, opened up. It looks like there might be a little chunk of lead in there, just like that first shot, but you can see those really nice star cuts going through once again. And then where it did start to taper off and then into that second block. So let's see what kind of measurement we have here from the side. And at our widest spot from the side, we are pretty much exactly the same. Oh, actually, no. A little bit more. We're just, sorry, just shy of 1.5 inches. So, you know, just over or just about 1/4 inch more than that last shot. So you can definitely tell it was moving a little bit quicker. And you can actually tell here too on the way it expanded, but it is facing towards us once again. And then at our leading edge, we're at 5 1/4 inches. So that made it 16 1/4 inches of total penetration. So it looks like we got 1/4 inch more. But we'll check these out one more time from the top. So the one on the right was that first shot, one left was that second shot. So here's that first shot. You can see came in, opened up really nicely, dumping a ton of energy right there. Getting some nice expansion, and then you can see where it did start to taper off and flatline there towards the end. We did make it into that second block. It is that one there on the top. And for a second shot, same thing, came in, opened up, dumping you know, quite a bit of energy once again. And then same thing. Sorry guys, getting a little distracted. There's quite a few people going by. But anyways, you can see where it did start to taper on this one as well. Flat line, and that one also made it into that second block. It is that one there on the top. So it's really good to see. So let's pull these rounds and see what they look like. All right, check these things out. Looks like they both got some pretty awesome expansion, and you can kind of tell the difference right there just by looking at them. But the one on the right was that first shot, one left was that second shot. So here is that first shot. You can see definitely got some really nice uniform expansion on that one. Perfect mushrooming. This is the one that was going a little bit slower. Like I said, a little bit disappointing, kind of surprising that we're going that low. But, you know, like I said, normally when we test these, we're way over 1,000 feet per second, but still pretty impressive. Can see that gas check there at the end, that copper gas check, just to scrape out all that lead that it's leaving behind. But still very impressive. That is a solid chunk of lead, too. 158 grain is no joke. And here is that second shot. This one did a little bit more. Same thing though from the top. It looks pretty identical. Opened up really nicely. Perfect expansion. But you can see that it did definitely peel back a little bit further towards that base in that first shot. But same thing. That little gas check back there. Same thing, full of gel. But definitely a fun test. This 38 is always fun to test. I haven't tested 38 on the channel in probably over a year now. So I figured we'd get it out just to do a little test. But always fun. And that stuff was some pretty stout stuff, pretty spicy recoil for that Ultra-Lite. But we'll check these out one time from the bottom. So the one on the right was that first shot, one on the left was that second shot, and last time from the top. So like I always do, guys, we'll rinse these, get our still shot, slow-mo, everything here at the end. But once again, that one was 158 grain plus P, lead semi-wad cutter, lead semi-wad cutter hollow point from Buffalo Bore. Thanks again for watching, guys. All right, so there's that cross section for that first shot. This is the one that was moving at 810 feet per second. So it is a little bit disappointing on those numbers. It's kind of weird too. It could just be the chronograph, you know, maybe didn't like that load. I'm thinking maybe there was too much smoke going over it, which kind of, you know, made it not read right. I'm not sure, because I did shoot those loads over the Garmin, and we were getting 1079. And you know, about in the 1070s with those loads. So it's kind of weird that you know, our old school chronograph kind of read it that ways. But anyways, so you can see right down in there, there's basically, you can see that hole all the way down to the cutting board. But really big splits, very surprising there. And same on this side. I think did open up very big and very wide, so that's good. But just not the velocity that we're looking for. So I did remeasure these. They are peaking and averaging right at the same, right at that 2 1/4 inch mark. So still good, just not the best on velocity. So let's cut it open. All right, so here's after being cut. So this bottom is the right side and this top is the left. So you can see pretty much on contact, probably right around that 1/8 of an inch mark where it came in and opened up. You see that huge canyon or valley going all the way through. Really, really big splits. It did drag in a ton of fabric, which is kind of expected. That thing does have a huge hollow point cavity. But man, that is still some nasty stuff. Like I said, it wasn't moving the fastest. That we'd like it to, but it's just weird that our old school chrono wasn't rating the best. I have tested this a few times in the past, and like I keep saying, we were getting far over 1,000 feet per second, just shy of 1,100 feet per second. So it's just kind of weird. But anyways, you can really see that path, man. It's tore this gel up. It's dragging a bunch of stuff with it. Really, really deep cuts. Same here on the top. Didn't get as good of a cut, but you can still see came in, opened up. You can see that path going all the way through, and same thing, man. Just really jumbled this stuff up. They're not very clean cuts, like your jacketed bullets do, but still, I would not want to be on the receiving end of that thing regardless. It's a huge slug and has a lot of weight to it. So let's do one more quick angle, just so you can see, but you can see how deep they actually are and how kind of jumbled it looks in there. And same on this side. This is the main part where you can really tell. But man, that's some crazy looking stuff though. Tore a lot of gel with it, took a lot with it, and a pretty crazy pattern on the front end. But there we go. That one was that first shot. All right, there's that cross section for that second shot. So this one was moving a little bit faster, still not on par with what it should be moving, but it was good to see at least almost 100 feet per second gain. But same thing, you can see right down in that cavity, taking a bunch of gel with it. Really, really big splits and cuts. Very good spider webbing going on. So I did remeasure these. They are peaking and averaging right the same, right around that 2.5 inch mark. So it looks like we got about 1/4 inch more damage than the last shot. And it actually did peel back a little bit farther too. So that's always good. But like I said, I shot a couple off camera over the Garmin. For some reason, that Garmin doesn't like to pick up the shots when you actually hit the gel. I think we're too close. So I did shoot a couple out in the hill just to see what we're getting, and we're getting about 1079. It was averaging about 1075, so very impressive there. So it's just weird, like I keep saying, that our other one didn't pick up those numbers like that. But anyways, let's cut it open. All right, and here's after being cut. So this bottom is the right side and this top is the left. So you can see as soon as that thing came in around that 1/4 inch mark, started to open up. There is a little bit of that black fabric. I always mark, the cotton t-shirt on the front with the Sharpie, just so I have at least a aim point or a reference of where to hit. It looks like we hit pretty direct, so it did drag quite a bit of that through. But you can see we have some really nice cuts going down in there. Pretty much like that last one. It's taking a lot of gel with it. And definitely a lot different pattern or tears that we're normally used to seeing with those jacketed bullets. But anyways, here's the top. Same thing, came in, opened up. You can see quite a bit more of that fabric. Huge path going all the way through, and quite a bit more tearing. Super impressive stuff. I don't know if it's actually tearing, more like dragging and pushing all that stuff through. Pretty crazy stuff. You can see how jumbled it is right there. Let's do one more quick angle. And I'm sure I'll test this stuff a few more times. We'll probably do another test with the 2-inch, and then I actually do have a 4-inch that we'll be testing just to see how much of a velocity gain that we get with it. But one more quick angle. You can see how nasty that stuff is. Bunch of that fabric that it took. Really, really big splits, and same on this side. Big old tear right there. But anyways, there we go, guys. That one was that 158 grain Buffalo Bore lead semi-wad cutter hollow point. That one was the Plus P version. So basically like your old school FBI load, maybe a little bit spicier, out of that short barrel Taurus Model 85. Thanks again for watching, guys.